Hi, if you are here now, so you've decided to start learning JavaScript, and this is a great decision. You won't regret it. So to start learning correctly, let me start by explaining some basics, like how to define a variables and how to make an output. So let's get started. So variables in any programming language is used to store data. So in JavaScript, we will define variables in this way. Variable and then the name of this variable. So for example, let me call it name and then assignment, and I will define it as a string. For example, my name. So the value can be string, number, boolean. So this is a string value. We also can make it, for example, a number like this, but this is an old way. But ES6, which is a new update for JavaScript, added a new features in JavaScript. One of them is defining a variable. So the update was defining variable using let and then the name of the variable. The name, for example, it will make it country and equal to Egypt, for example. So this is an old way and this is the new way. Both of them is true, but I just wanted to inform you that you can define it in this way or using let. So we see a string value and number value. Also we have something called boolean. So let we make let and make, for example, exam equal to false, false or true. False and true values called logical values. We use them with if statement. So true make a condition to check if a statement is true, and false to check if the statement is false. We will see this when we explain if statement. But can we edit a variable and change its value? Of course we can. So for example, if I want to change the name and make it Rob, for example. So that's how we can change the value. But let we make sure if the variable is changed or not. So let we use the console to show the name. So console.log is a function allow you to show any data within the console of the browser. So I want to show name. So here is the console. So Rob. So we updated the name to be Rob, but if we remove here Rob, so it will return back to Ahmed. Okay, there is another way which is constant, and let we for example make a variable for year, and it will be a string 2019, and let we see it in the console. Nice, but can I update this variable? So if I type year equal to, for example, 2018, let me see. So uncode error, assignment to constant variable. So there is something wrong with this variable. We can't update the variable because we define it as a constant. We cannot change its value. Constant will help you to define a variable, constant variable. You won't change it within your code. So you define it in the top of the code and you just use it within a function or within anything else. But we can change the variable here, name or the country or anything else. Now let me see some notes you should take care of when you define a variable. The first one is Don't use reserved words like if, class, function, and some other reserved names. So for example, if we define a variable let and call it if, and this if is equal to anything like hello, and let we see this in the console. So let we type here if, let we see the error, uncode syntax error, unexpected token if. Because if is a reserved word, there is something in the JavaScript language called if statement, so we can't use it as a variable. The same thing is, for example, function. Let me see. The same thing, unexpected token function. So there is a reserved word that we can't name our variables with. Another condition that not allowed, that you start the name of the variable with a number, or even make the variable number. So for example here, let we remove this and make it to name. So I have a variable called to name. Let we cancel to name, invalid or unexpected token. And the same thing if we make it as a number, unexpected number. So we are not allowed to start the variable name with a number. Another thing which is not allowed, a space or characters if the name consists of two words. So you can make the second word start with uppercase letter. So for example, if we call this last name, and here let me display last name, let me see unexpected identifier. So instead of this, you can start the second word with uppercase letter. Yeah, here we have to change it. Yeah, here let me remove this. So now it works well. Or even in other characters like this, for example, unexpected token slash. So those are some mistakes that you should avoid when you define a variable. Now let me see how we can make an output. So the first way, there is a function called document dot write. Now let me type hello world. Let me see. So it will type hello world. Another way is to access to this division and type something inside it. So how we can access to this division? Using ID. So document dot get element. Make sure that you start with uppercase letter, pi uppercase letter, ID the same thing, and then the name of the ID, which is text dot inner HTML equal to, and then the word or something we want to type. So we can type we learning JavaScript. Nice. And the last way is alert function. So we can type anything and it will be alerted. So for example, we can type welcome in this page. Bear in mind that when you type a text, it should be within a single quotation or double quotation. So here we type a text and the same thing here. So what we see, so it will alert welcome in this page. When the page is get reloaded, the first thing will be displayed is the alert. Also, instead of this text, we can display a variable. So here we define a name. So we can display the name within this division. So I will display the variable name. So it will be displayed. We can also concatenate this variable with a text. So plus and then type something like welcome. So welcome and then the name. Let me make space here. Nice. Also we can use HTML tags. So for example here let me use h3. So here is a header element h3 and then the name. So also we can type HTML elements like this. Finally, there is a small hint here for variables. You can define all variables in just one line. So here variable, but let me remove this and make it let, and then take here age and separate them with a comma. Let me get rid of this. Okay. So we can define it just in one line like this. So that's everything in this lesson. Of course, there is some other basics, but we will see them in the next lessons, like assignments that used with loops and logical values used with if statement. So if there is something you need to know, tell me in the comments. See you.